Hello everybody and welcome back to the Backlogs channel. And today marks a few days since the first quarterly report came out from Nintendo. This is the actual first quarterly report that came out since the Switch 2 has been released. So, I mean, I don't do these very often. I think I've only ever done one before this. But I thought it'd be pretty cool to just go in and see any cool stats or anything that might be in the spreadsheet. So, yeah, let's just scroll through it. I'll cut and stuff to just interesting spots and interesting statistics that I might find. I'm not going to look at everything on camera, but yeah. Let's just get right into it. Okay, so first of all, the first thing I really want to look at is this fourth page, where they show the percentage of where the consoles are being sold around the world. For this quarterly report, it's saying that about 40% is sold in America, so the most amount is sold in the Americas. And then 23% is sold in Europe, which surprisingly, both those numbers are bigger than the average amount of, or not average, but the most amount of people in Japan. So America and Europe, I guess probably because they're bigger places, it is very cool to see how big of an impact this Japanese company has on the American audience. I mean, the biggest impact, apparently. That almost makes me think, though, if Japan grew in size and was the same population as all of America, but inside of Japan, would that in turn make Japan probably the number one sale ratio on this pie? I don't know, but it's a cool thing to think about. I mean, America is still number one. So, yeah, I think that was the same last time I looked. And then they also talk about, this is all in yen because it's a Japanese quarterly report, but they're saying that the Super Mario Brothers movie has made 16.7 billion yen, which is crazy. I mean, they're saying, yes, that is declined by 4.4% year on year, which makes sense. The movie's been coming out, or it came out about 2-3 years ago now. I'm pretty sure in 2022, maybe 2023. So it makes sense that overall the movie is slowly doing worse and worse. It is on streaming services now, and it is big enough to be shown on boxes, like on TV boxes. Like, I'll walk into a Target and I'll see like these TV boxes next to the TVs on display, and the one thing that they show, like as if you were on Amazon Prime and you're looking at a show, the number one thing they show on the box is the Super Mario Brothers movie, which is kind of surreal. When the movie was first coming out, I really had this feeling of like, oh, this is basically a movie for like all the people that play Mario games and all. Not even that, but like even more in depth, kind of just the people that really enjoy the lore of Mario games and kind of the deep cut references, which it kind of superseded that in a way. It very much went past that point. And now we're at a point where practically it's on the same level as like a Despicable Me movie, where even if you haven't played a Mario game before, or understand anything about it, you can watch the movie and it's still enjoyable. So, I mean, that's cool to see. I really didn't expect it to get to that point, but I mean, cool to see it's still doing some numbers at least. Wow. This number is kind of crazy. They're basically saying here that the sales for their video just dedicated to video game platforms, which in previous years was just pretty much talking about the Switch 1, and then in the beginning of the Switch 1 era, they were talking about Wii U, 3DS, and Switch 1, and then it kind of turned into just 3DS and Switch 1. and then it was just Switch 1 for many years up until this year, where they're practically talking about Switch 2. And yeah, they're basically saying here that since last year, their dedicated video game platform business, which is video game consoles, grew by 142.5% year on year to 555.5 billion yen. You know, I'm starting to think maybe that isn't their consoles. I think that's just anything. So they're saying net sales increased significantly in the first quarter due to mainly the launch of the Nintendo Switch, obviously, yes. Yeah. So basically the Switch 2 really pushed it to a new level of, yeah, the biggest growth they've probably seen in a in one of these quarterly reports ever. Okay, so this is the first page talking about the Nintendo Switch 2. I didn't even read through the first page yet. I'm gonna read it through at the same time on the video. So, sell through of 3.5 million units in 4 days following the June 5th, 2025 launch. So they're basically saying there, within the first 4 days of launch of the Switch 2, it sold 3.5 million units in the first 4 days alone, which is really good. They're saying, as announced in our news release, Nintendo Switch 2 sell-through exceeded 3.5 million units worldwide in the 4 days following the launch. So they're saying here, this is the highest ever global sales level during the first 4 days after the launch of any of our dedicated. So this is the biggest launch Nintendo has ever had for a console ever. So anyone who was saying the Switch 2 wasn't selling good because there was a bunch of copies left in stores after the fact and they weren't completely sold out after the first 4 days or even after the first day, I mean, they still sold 3.5 million units of it, which just means they really got on top of the idea of many people buying it, so having to stock a lot. They had a lot of back stock, I assume. They had so much that pre-orders, once those were all done, there were still some left for people that didn't get their pre-orders the day before. The day after, you could probably walk into a store and just pick up a Switch 2, which is very nice for all the people that don't care about doing that singular time that Nintendo wants to do pre-orders maybe twice, and you have to sit there and refresh a page for 30 minutes and make sure, or like really hope that you get the pre-order and all that garbage. So yeah, really good stuff. Nintendo on top of their game yet again. They're doing it twice in a row, which is very not like them. It's good to see. Good to see. This page is basically saying the Switch 2 has sold 6 million units, or even more than 6 million units, within 7 weeks after the launch of the console. Just another crazy, mind-boggling number. Yes, within the first 4 days, they sold about 3.5 million, and then 6 million within 7 weeks altogether. Or is this saying Nintendo Switch 2 sales grew at a strong pace following the launch, with sell-through exceeding 6 million units globally in the 7 weeks after launch? Okay, that's what I thought they were saying. For a second, I thought maybe they were saying on top of the 3.5 million units sold, this was on top of that. So 3.5 plus 6, that would be 9.5. Looks like this includes the 3.5. So an extra 2.5 million consoles ended up selling within those first 7 weeks, which is really good. Really good to hear. We love to see that. It just shows that not only was it just like a craze at launch to get a Switch 2, but it has continued to get some popularity. And I can only imagine for this Christmas season, it's probably going to grow past, I would assume, something like 10 million to 15 million consoles by the end of the year, which is absolutely insane. But I mean, you're probably gonna get the biggest push around the launch of a console and Christmas time. That's just the two times, and then like birthdays, obviously, but those are all different for everybody. So now that the console has launched, it's very much up to the Switch to really just promote themselves very hard during the Christmas and holiday season, which is coming up soon. It's already November 12th. Wow. Okay. So this chart right here is basically looking at the sales of each Switch family of consoles. So we got in red, we got the Switch 2, and then in blue we got the OLED model for the original Switch, and then we got orange as the Switch Lite, and the original Switch is in pink. As to be expected, obviously in 2024, 2025, we're looking at the sales of the Switch 1 family of consoles. Obviously, Switch OLED is always going to be number one. It is the best Switch 1 console you can get, which ultimately makes it the number one choice for people. So 2 years in a row, obviously it's starting to dip a little bit in sales, which makes sense considering it's getting to the end of its lifespan. Most people that wanted the console already got the console. But yeah, in 2024, 2025, it's starting to dip a little bit. And in 2026, they're predicting that this number right here, in 2026, this number of Switch 2s is going to be sold, which is more than all of the ones in 2024, OLED, Lite, and the original model, all combined, which, I mean, we'll see. I assume this is just based on data that they have already now. They're just kind of predicting that, and they're just following this trend here, kind of chopping this one in half right here. And then for this one, we're basically looking at the annual number of players on their consoles. So in 2017, we had 19 million. That was right when the Switch 1 was coming out. Obviously, Nintendo had to get their footing again. They had to really establish a player base. So not a lot of people had it. But going into 2018, they were starting to get a little bit more traction, about 19 million people annually playing online. And then we go into 2018 through 2019. Obviously, it goes more. And then it about doubles the next year as well. And it just keeps doubling up until 2024. And it dips a little bit, but it's practically the same here, where we've hit the most amount of people that are going to buy the original Switch models right here, 129 million, 128 million, which is very impressive. This number means that over 100 million people are playing on their I guess only Switch 1s at this point, because this is all the way until 2025, which is June, the month that the Switch 2 came out. So none of these numbers have to do with the Switch 2 at all. These are plainly Switch 1 users, which, if you know, the Switch 1 has about 150 million people that have bought it overall. And the fact that there's 129 million, 128 million people still playing annually on their Switches into 2024 and 2025 means there's only about 20 million of those people that bought Switches that aren't playing on it still, which is very nice. What you'll see a lot is I don't know, Xbox 360 or the Wii, where a lot of people bought it on launch. They played a little bit of it the first year or so, maybe the second year. They played a lot of Wii Sports. Maybe they got Wii Play. They played a lot of that. Maybe people on Xbox 360, they bought it. They got a Call of Duty. They got a Halo, and they played those for the first year. Maybe they played the next ones coming out, and then they put those consoles to the side for other things. The Wii had probably one of the biggest problems with that. The Wii was very much a fad. It was not a cool thing. I mean, it was a cool thing to have a Wii, but if you played Wii games besides like Wii Sports, maybe Wii Sports Resort, something like that, and you really, really like got into playing Nintendo Wii games, you weren't cool. Like, it wasn't cool to like New Super Mario Brothers Wii. It wasn't cool to like Smash Brawl. It just wasn't. People weren't playing that. People were playing Call of Duty and stuff like that around that time. Maybe TF2, the new GTA, maybe GTA 4 or GTA San Andreas, stuff like that. So yeah, it was around that time. Basically, what the graph looked like for the Wii's is it probably started around 38 to 66 million up here, and then it slowly lost traction over time, and instead of going up like this graph is going, it slowly went down until it was probably at 19 million at the end of its lifespan, probably around here towards the end, which is really good for the Switch. This doesn't happen often with consoles, where people buy it and they play it, but then they continue playing it as other people buy it and play it, and then more people buy it and play it as these other people are still playing it, adding to that number, until you go up and up and up and up, and you hit this ceiling at the very end, but it never really starts to dip like crazy. You don't see an up and down chart, you just see an up, 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 stable, which is a nice hill to look at for a chart like this. Okay, so this certain section is basically saying that, yes, the Switch 2 sales totaled over 5.82 million units within the first quarter of this fiscal year, but the Switch 2, or sorry, the original Switch, their sales declined 53% from last year to 0.98 million units. So Nintendo wasn't even able to sell 1 million units of their console this year, or this first quarter, or the first quarter of this fiscal year, which is probably the worst I think the Switch has ever done. And it's only going to get worse as the Switch 2 is now out. That is the alternative that everyone is going to get, because it can play Switch 1 games, but it can also play everything new that's coming out. This is actually insane, this sentence right here. The Nintendo Switch is now in its 9th year since launch. So a year-on-year decline in sales is expected, but it continues to show... It's still... I mean, it's making stable sales. This console is made almost 1 million units. 9 years into it being on the market within 1 quarter of a year. That is really good still. I mean, if we really think about it, the Wii U only sold 12 million units in its whole lifetime. That was from 2012 to 2017, 5 different years. This, if it's selling about 1 million per each quarter year at its worst, that's 4 million per year. 4 million times 5, that's about 20 million. So if at its worst the Switch 1 was selling 1 million per quarter year, it would still beat the Wii U at this rate by 8 million units, which is incredible. With the Wii U, literally Nintendo's console before the Nintendo Switch 1. It's just incredible to think about how popular the Switch 1 has become and is. And this next one, Nintendo Switch 2 software sales totaled at 8.67 million units, which is, that number is scarily close to the Wii U sales. Again, 12 million, that's it. Which means this number is about 4 million away within half a year of beating their Wii U, their entire Wii U generation of consoles. This was due to the fact that many consumers purchased the hardware bundled with Mario Kart World, and that there was a wide variety of titles from other software publishers. Yep, that is just a fact. I would say probably 75 to 80% of people probably bought their Mario Kart, or their Switch 2 with the Mario Kart World bundle. I mean, what else were you playing unless you bought the console and then you bought Mario Kart World separately for some reason. I don't think most people did that. This is going to be practically just a statistic for this first year, I think. Now that the Pokemon Legends ZA bundle is out and that the Mario Kart World bundle is going away sometime next year, I'm pretty sure. But yeah, it was good to see. Mario Kart World, it almost feels like Mario Kart World and the Switch 2 worked hand in hand, helping each other in every way they could. They sold each other. They really did. I think Mario Kart World, a Mario Kart game being the #1 thing alongside the Switch 2 was a perfect plan. Up here, I didn't see this before, but apparently Mario Kart World has already sold about 5.63 million units within the first half a year. I can only project this number is going to skyrocket more and more through the years. I mean, it is the replacement Mario Kart game. This is the Mario Kart game that we have for this generation. So, I mean, and getting it literally day one, it gives it every single day that the Switch 2 is a thing and released to the public to gain that population of units sold. So, I mean, we're looking at 5.63 million in the first half a year. I assume by the end of the generation, this number is probably going to hit 25, 30 million, something like that. I mean, that's shooting high, but I mean, we're in the first half a year and it's at 5.63 million. Within half a year, almost 10 or half of 10 million units. That is really good. The Nintendo Switch software sales declined 20.4% year on year to 24.40 million units because Nintendo Switch 2 can play Nintendo Switch titles. The people purchasing Nintendo Switch software include not only owners of Nintendo Switch, but also people who have bought the Switch 2. Yeah, I mean, that makes sense. I mean, more people are going to be buying Switch 2 software at this point. I mean, it would make no sense for people to buy Mario Kart 8 Deluxe now when you could buy Mario Kart World or something like that. Why would you buy Pokemon Legends Arceus when you could buy Pokemon Legends ZA? There's now alternatives to these games. I mean, so that's just what it's going to be from now on out. There's going to be more Switch 2 games probably being sold than Switch 1 games. Overall, that's just my assumption. So next we got just basically what was released this year. This is just software to be released. So we got Mario Kart World and Welcome Tour. Those came out day one, and then only a little over a month later we got Donkey Kong Bonanza, and then we got on August 14th we got Drag X Drive. Probably didn't sell very well, I assume. And then Kirby Air Riders is coming later this year. It's coming out at the end of this month, actually. It's coming out pretty soon. Hyrule Warriors came out the 6th of this month, so it came out about 6 days ago. And Splatoon Raiders has still only gotten one trailer, so we'll see more about that, I'm sure, soon if they're bringing it up here. But yeah, unless they're gonna show more stuff on the next slide. I think them showing Splatoon Raiders on the first slide kind of indicates the idea that maybe that's going to be coming out sooner than anything on the next slides, but I assume Metroid Prime 4 is going to be talked about at some point, and that game is 100% coming out before Splatoon Raiders does, so maybe not. Okay, so this is the next thing that's being shown off. We've got Pokemon Friends. I don't remember what this is, to be honest. I'm pretty sure it's just like tiny puzzle game. This is coming out. Oh, this already came out. Never mind. This one already came out. Okay. And then Pokemon Legends ZA. I already played through this game, beat it. I talked about it on the channel. Very good game. Overly hated. I would say it is my favorite Pokemon game so far in the franchise. But that's just my opinion. It's one of the two that I've beaten, so it's not that important of an opinion, I would say. But, I mean, it is my opinion. Then Metroid Prime 4, it's coming out in December. It's coming out like next month. I'm gonna make another video talking about this game in a second, literally right after this video, so stay tuned for that. I'm gonna talk a little bit about how I feel up to the release of this game and stuff, so that game's coming out soon. And then I forgot about these three. Well, I didn't forget about this one, obviously, but these two I kind of forgot about because they got released, or they got tiny reveals once, and that's about it. So we got Rhythm Heaven Groove. It's a new Rhythm Heaven game, which I will be buying and I'll be probably beating within one sitting. I'm very excited for this Rhythm Heaven game. And then Tomodachi Life, Living the Dream. This is probably my #1 wish for games coming out. Before it was revealed, I always clamored on about the possibility of there being a new Tomodachi Life game. And then it just kind of happened. The reveal of it happened right before the Switch 2 idea. They're saying that it's going to be a Switch 1 game, but I assume it's going to be a Switch 1 game or a Switch 2 edition game. It's going to be a cross release, I assume, especially coming in 2026. It would be weird if they were still releasing big budget games like this for just the Switch 1. And then Pokemon Champions, that was revealed, I'm pretty sure, in the Pokemon Direct that the Pokemon Presents that just happened recently. And that just looks like another kind of Pokken tournament type situation game. So yeah, that's also coming out next year. And then, yeah, so here's the Switch 2 editions we have so far. These two you can kind of cross off. They were cross releases. But the first two that we got were Breath of the Wild and Tears of the Kingdom. Basically just upgraded graphics. And if you have the smartphone app, you can get these certain little extra dialogue options and kind of a built-in GPS. And that's about it, honestly. Yeah, that's really about it. Cool. Not worth the extra money. Same with Mario Party Jamboree. It's just a DLC plus a expansion on the graphics, an extra $20 for this. So it was $80, or you could buy the $20 expansion. Not worth. That's all I'll say. I've talked about it on a video before. It is not worth your money. I would say the same for Kirby and the Forgotten Land. It's an extra $20 for the upgrading graphics and the DLC, $10 for each thing. Not worth your money. Just buy the original game. The original game still looks really good. It's not in 4K, but I mean 1080p, 60 frames, that's all you really need. It's not that detailed of a game. It's just a Kirby game. It's a good game. The DLC's not worth it, and the upgrading graphics, I mean, if you really want it, sure, not worth. Then Legends, yeah, we already talked about. Metroid Prime 4, we already talked about. Those are just, they are dropping on the Switch 1 and Switch 2, same day as each other. This is a weird thing that I haven't really talked about so far. Pokemon Legends EA is the first example of this idea of Switch 1 and Switch 2 games being released at the same time. Cross-generational releases, but the Switch 1 version is $60, when the Switch 2 version is $70, which is plainly saying to the investor, you have to pay extra money to be able to use what your console was created to do. The only difference between the games is the resolution going from 1080p to 4K Ultra HD, which you're paying an extra $10 for upgraded graphics, which should just come naturally with games releasing on the console. It doesn't make too much sense to me, but that's what Nintendo's doing, so we'll see if it really ends up working out for them, I guess. Okay, then next up, we got digital sales in the first quarter decreased by 13.5% year on year to 69.8 billion yen, and accounted for 59% of total software sales for dedicated video game platforms. Wow. Okay. That's pretty cool. And digital sales declined year on year mainly because of a decrease in sales of downloadable versions of packaged software and the effects of a stronger yen. Basically, they're saying, like, less games released digitally, on top of the yen changing in value in Japan, kind of just a currency situation. Alright, yeah, so that kind of seems like the end of the spreadsheet. That was practically all the important information, I would say. Pretty cool stuff. The Switch 2 is doing very well for itself. The main things that I got out of that was Switch 1 is decreasing more than it ever has, yet it's still doing about 1 million per quarter of the year, which is about 4 million per year. It's still chugging along. But the Switch 2 has came in and exceeded the expectations of the company of Nintendo. And they are basically saying, wow, the Switch 2 did as good as we thought times 2. And it is sold about close to 9 million copies, which is 3 million shy of the Wii U. It's a really cool thing to see the Wii U just fail over and over and over again, especially past its lifetime. It's been almost 8 years since the Wii U has breathed Breath of the Wild any life from itself, and it is still losing, which against its own blood. It's just so funny to see, but I'm glad Nintendo is past the days of having to worry about people not buying their stuff. It seems like they are very much in the clear, and people have regained their trust in Nintendo to make good products at the end of the day. No matter how you feel about those products, the price and the way they reveal them and the way they release them and all of this stuff, all this financial garbage, at the end of the day, everyone can agree that the Switch 2 itself is a good product, and the numbers show that. So it was fun to go through this first quarter of the Switch 2, honestly, pretty much. And seeing the very tail end of the Switch 1, seeing the aftermath of everything. And yeah, thank you everybody so much for watching. See you guys in the next Backlogs video, and bye-bye.